Good morning, everyone. As we have decided, we'll be doing English literature today. And when we talk about literature and we do not talk about William Shakespeare, then it is said that we haven't spoken of literature at all. William Shakespeare is one of the most popular names of English literature. He was a poet, he was an actor, and he was a playwright. He has written many plays, and many of his works have been adapted to the movies also. For instance, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. So he is a very popular name. He's a very celebrated name in the field of literature. And do you know the reason behind his popularity? So the reason behind Shakespeare's popularity is the relevance of the theme of his works in the present time. Whatever he had written back in 16th century holds good till date, even today. Okay, so the proof for what I just said is the poem which we are going to do just now, All the World's a Stage, is where Shakespeare has compared the world to a stage and the life of the human beings to um, the parts played by the actors and actresses in the play. Okay, so what after reading this poem, after going through this poem, we will realize that yes, our life is pretty much like that only. Okay, and it is holding relevance in today's time also, as the people of his time in the back in the 16th century could relate to the poem, the same way we can also relate to the theme of the poem or the poem which he has written, which William Shakespeare has written. Okay, so I would like you all to turn to page number 82, chapter number 10 of your literature books, where this poem, All the World's a Stage, has been given. Um, so this poem, All the World's a Stage, it was not written as a poem per se. It has been extracted from one of the plays of William Shakespeare, As You Like It, which is named as You Like It, and we can find this extract in the Act 2 and Scene 7 of this play. It is mentioned, it is written there in the form of a soliloquy, which has been spoken by one of the characters, Jacques, of the play. Okay, so now I would like to draw your attention towards soliloquy, what a soliloquy is. So soliloquy is a literary device which is often used in the dramas or the plays, okay, where the character or where the actor or actress, they come on the stage and they speak their thoughts aloud. I mean, they are in the play. They are not. There are not other characters. He's not talking to other characters. He is just thinking in his mind, and he is just giving voice to his thoughts so as to let the audience know what his thoughts and what his feelings are. Okay. So this is what a soliloquy is. All right. So we can find this poem, which is not a poem actually, but it held its popularity. It became so famous once this play, As You Like It, was released in front of the readers. So this is what a soliloquy is. Soliloquy is, it is again a literary device, so you should know about it. Okay, where the actor is speaking out his thoughts in order to let the audience know what he is feeling or what his thoughts are. Right. So let us see. Let us read the introduction, which is given on page number 82 in your books. All the World's a Stage is a poem written by William Shakespeare. In fact, it was not a poem earlier, but a monologue from the maestros, As You Like It, spoken by the melancholy Jacques in Act 2, Scene 7. The speech compares the world to a stage and life to a play, and catalogues the 7 stages of a man's life, sometimes referred to as the 7 ages of man: infant, schoolboy, lover, soldier, pantaloon, and old age facing imminent death. It is one of Shakespeare's most frequently quoted passages. So, like I've already told you, that it was not written as a poem initially, but then it is quoted individually because it became so popular. And here I would like you to underline few words. In the second line, it has been written monologue from the maestro. So maestro means genius, and it is referred to William Shakespeare over here. You can just underline the word and write down genius. And then spoken by melancholy Jacques. Melancholy means a person who is sad or unhappy. So this character, Jacques is the character who is very insightful, okay, and he gives philosophical thoughts on the things, and he is melodramatic. So this act is played by this character has been played by Jacques in the act 2 scenes in the play As You Like It, and we can find this poem in the act 2 scene 7, as I have already told you. Since this in this poem, William Shakespeare has divided the life of a human being into 7 parts. So this is also sometimes referred to as 7 ages of man. And you can underline the word catalogs and write down categorizes. Okay, categorizes. Right. So what are the 7 ages which he has talked about in this poem? It's infancy, okay, infant, when the stage of a newborn baby, then a schoolboy, when the child goes to the school, early childhood or mid childhood, and then the lover, that is the early youth years, okay, adolescence, which we say. And then soldier, after that the pantaloon, the middle-aged person, when one are like around 50s or 60s, and then the old age comes, then the person is quite near to his death. Okay, so this is what is the introduction of the poem. So let us read the poem now. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. Now here the poet, that is William Shakespeare, he has compared this world to a stage. Okay, the stage where the acts, where the plays are performed. So he has compared this whole world to the stage, and all the men and women, that means all the human beings, are nothing but the players, the actors and actresses of that play, of this stage. Okay, and they have their exits and entrances. Okay, we are just merely players. We are only players and nothing else. Like the actors and actresses, they come on the stage, they perform their acts on the directions of the director. Similarly, we human beings, according to William Shakespeare, we come into this world, we perform our roles, okay, like which are directed by the supreme being, the ultimate reality, by the God. Okay, we are our acts, our deeds, everything is just directed by God. We do not do anything from our own. Okay, so we are merely players. We are just playing our parts, which has been given to us by God, and we are being directed by God as well. So this is what he has said, and we all have our entrances. We enter into this world when we take birth, when we are born, okay, and we play our part, and then we exit, okay, and then we die. So this entrances and exits has been referred to the births and deaths of the people who come in this world and then go and then leave the world after living their lives. That means after playing the role assigned to the person. Then, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. What does this mean? That one man in his lifespan plays many parts. Like if you recall any of the movies, and if you recall any of the actor or the character of the movie, what do you observe? That if an actor is playing a role of police officer, then he's not playing the role of police officer only. In some of the scenes, he's playing the role of a son. In others, he's playing the role of a lover. In some other, he plays the role of a police officer. Similarly, we also, like, you people are sitting in front of me as the students, okay, but in front of your parents you are their children. You are somebody's son, you are somebody's daughter, then and then with your siblings you are their brother or sister, and then in front of your grandparents you are their grandchildren. So, and when you will grow up, you will play your professional roles. Like, I am a teacher in front, I'm sitting like a teacher in front of you. So these are the various roles which are performed by every single human being, okay. So we play many parts, and this whole huge lifespan of human being, William Shakespeare has broadly divided into 7 parts, okay. And then we'll be doing each part one by one. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. So the first stage is that of an infant. When the person enters into this world, when a person takes birth, okay, at that time he's a dependent human being. He just mews and, like, he just throws up in the nurse's arm. Here, nurse is, doesn't only mean to connect it with the medical field, but nurse is someone who takes care of takes care and who looks after someone. So this nurse's arm could be the mother's arms also. So what does an infant do? If you have observed small children who are just small babies who are just newborn, okay, what do? They have no other business but to cry and to drink them and to have the milk, and then they throw up also those that milk. Okay, so this is what, and Shakespeare has very appropriately used the word mewling, because if you have heard an infant cry, the voice is very weak, and the child does not have enough energy to cry out loud. Okay, so here crying has not been used, but mewling has been used because it's very weak sound, very low note, low pitch sound. So this is what has been, this is why mewling has been used over here, and puking, as you know, that vomiting or throwing up. So this is what has been used. So the first stage of that of an infant who is when a person is totally dependent on his mother or on the person who is looking after him. So that is the stage. That is the first stage of human being. And then let's see what is the next stage. Then the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwilling to school. And then comes that stage of a schoolboy. When the children they join the school, they just keep on crying. They cry like anything when they leave their parents at the gate, and the teachers of the pre-primary section or the nursery section, they have to pacify those children all the time. So this is what they do. They are so unwilling to come to the school, and when you are uninterested in doing something, then you do it very slowly. So that is why here it has been said that creeping like a snail, the child is so disinterested in going to school, and is so unwilling to go to the school, that he is creeping like a snail. He's walking very slowly, like very slowly to the school, and he's just very annoyed when it comes to the school. He just feels very annoyed when it comes to the school, and he complains all the time, and he keeps on finding the excuses of missing out the school, of not going to the school. Okay, so they make this all the time different excuses, like some today I'm not feeling well, I won't go, or the things like that. You better know the excuses what you make when you don't want to come to the school. Okay, so this is the second stage, that of a childhood, when there's a schoolboy with a satchel is a school bag. Okay, satchel is a school bag, and shining morning face. Why? Because it is morning and everything is just fresh and bright. So the face of the child is also shining brightly. But then there is disinterestedness in him, unwillingness to go to the school. And then the next stage is, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad, made to his mistress' eyebrow. So, and then comes the lover. Okay, when the child reaches his towards the end of the teenage. Okay, that is the adolescent period. So at that time he falls in love with someone, and then he is sighing like a furnace, because he is just missing his beloved. Okay, he is distant from his beloved, from whom he loves, from the depth of his heart. So he is separated from his beloved, and that is why he is writing woeful ballad. Ballad is love poem or love songs, and woeful, why woeful means sad songs, sad love songs. Why? Because he is missing his beloved, and he's writing poems for his beloved, and made to his mistress eyebrows. Here mistress means the beloved, or the person whom he is in love with. So he is writing the poem on the eyebrows of his beloved. And then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like a pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then this is what the fourth stage, where um, where the person plays the role of a soldier. Here, soldier doesn't mean literally that the person who is there protecting our borders. Yes, those people can be included in this, but it is not. But Shakespeare is not only talking about those person. He has just compared this age or this phase of life to that of the soldier, because at that time at such age, at the youth, when the person is during is in his youth years, then at that time he's very impulsive. He has lots of heat in his blood, and he makes all sorts of promises that he'll do this, he'll do that, he can do this, everything. Like if you challenge the person when he's in that age, he will take up the challenge immediately, and he'll try to do it whether or not it is he's capable of doing it, or he's capable of doing it. So he just makes all kinds of strange oaths, he makes all kinds of strange promises that I can do this, I'll do that. Okay, and which are not even practically possible, that also they do, just in order to protect, just in order to satisfy their ego, you can say, or their honor, which they take up on their ego. So seeking the bubble reputation means the reputation bubble. Why this word bubble has been used along with the reputation? Because reputation is something which is very short lived. Okay, we have to keep on working on that in order to maintain the reputation. But as soon as you putting in the effort, then your reputation just vanishes. Okay, nobody remembers what you used to do. So this is why he has said very rightly that bubble reputation. So in that at that age in that age, the person is very particular about his own reputation, his own individual reputation, or the reputation of the family, or the reputation of the institution, whatsoever he's concerned with. So this is what has been said, that he can do anything when it comes to his reputation, and he has not developed that deep and mature thinking in order to know what he needs to build up is the character. Okay, because character is something which goes in a long run, and reputation is just for the time being. It is very momentary, it is very volatile kind of thing. And he becomes so much daring that even in the cannon's mouth, means even in the most dangerous situation also, he will not return, or he will not take his steps back, and he'll do anything just in order to seek his reputation. Now let us move on to the next stage, next phase. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. Now, the stage of the human, now this stage of human being has been compared to that of the justice. Okay, again here justice doesn't mean that he's only talking about that particular group of people who are the judges, but in this age justice, but here justice refers to refers to his ability to know what is what is fair and not fair, to know what is right and wrong. At such a stage, when the person has gained some experience, and with his experience he can make out that what is good for him and what is bad for him. He develops this calmness inside him, and that all the heat of his youth years, that cools down, and he becomes a more realistic person, and he stops being impulsive, he stops being impractical. He thinks, he ponders, and then he acts. Okay, he becomes a very composed person. And now here it has been said that in fair round belly means he has gained weight, he has put on weight due to his unhealthy eating habit. And when he's like with good cape alignment means when somebody is served with good chicken dish and fish curry and so that sort of thing. So that is this is referred to the unhealthy eating habit, that the person gains weight, puts on weight, and he becomes very composed. And then he becomes someone who stands there as a guide, and he tells everyone what should you do and what should you not do from his experience. And when he says and he speaks all kinds of all the words of wisdom. Okay, full of wise saws means wise saying. He quotes other people also, and then he gives the modern instances, he gives the example of day to day affairs, so that the people of his time, they can relate to what he's saying, they can better understand to what he's saying. So he explains himself, he tells what others should do and should not do, by giving the examples of the current time, and by quoting the wise words full of wisdom. So he at this stage is a wise person who is uh, who is very calculative in what he is speaking, who is very calculative in what he is making promises for. Okay, it is a contrast between the youth and this stage, that is the middle-aged person who has gained some experiences and who is not impulsive anymore. All right, and then the sixth age. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with the spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Now the person's health starts deteriorating after that middle age, when he has passed that phase of middle age, and now the person starts becoming thin, and he starts becoming weak because he has entered his old age. And in that period, the person normally stays and a person normally becomes unfit and very weak and very thin and lean. And again, this has been described that he's wearing his lean and slippered pantaloon, means very loose trousers. Pantaloons are very loose trousers. And then his eyesight becomes weak, and therefore he has spectacles on nose. And then pouch on side, you see, when there are old people, mostly they keep their belongings very close to them. Okay, and what belongings, it's not very expensive or costly thing, but very small things, like they want to have pen with them, they have to have their spectacles case with them. Okay, and all sort of small things which you can think of, they want to keep it with themselves, so that they don't appear to be dependent on others. They become so like they become very vulnerable, that if they'll ask for some small thing and the person denies, then they feel that then they feel themselves to be to have become very weak. Okay, that they are not being listened to. So they don't want to appear that as a dependent person, they want to be very independent at that age also, because it is hard for them to accept that they are turning cold. Okay, and they will be needing the help of others. So they try to keep all the belongings to themselves. So that is why they here at it has been said that pouch on the side. So whatever they are wearing, they have their pouch beside them. Okay, and then his youthful hose is a kind of stockings. Okay, it is a kind of stocking. So stockings, you can um, you know that it is a very closely fitted kind of socks, long socks. Okay, it is very closely fitted and it appears very thin because you have to stretch it all through your legs to wear it. Okay, so that also, that thin hose which he used to wear in his youthful years, in his youth days, in his young days, that time which he had saved, that has become a worldwide. That means that has also become so loose for his thin and shrunk legs. Okay, shank is the portion. Shank, you can underline and write down calf. Calf, it is the part of your leg which is there in between the knees and the ankle. That portion of the leg which you find between your knees and the ankle, that is also known as calf. So that has shrunk so much when a person enters the old age, when he becomes old, and all the muscles it loosens. Okay, all the muscles loosen, and because it becomes very the skin and everything shrinks. So that is what it has been said over here, that his youthful hose which he used to wear during his youth. Okay, there was a time when that closely fitted stockings, it used to fit him. But now the time has come that that smallest, that is the thinnest part of the cloth, that has also become loose for him, because he has become so weak, he has become so lean. Okay, and his big manly voice, which he like when he was in his middle age, then the big manly voice which he used to have, that has reduced to nothing but the childish treble. Okay, pipes and whistles mean when the old people, they lose their teeth. Then what happens when they speak? They are not actually whistling, but when they speak, then air comes out of the from the spaces between the teeth, and it appears and it we can hear the sounds of whistles from when they speak. So this is what the big manly voice it reduces to. Okay, this is what the big manly voice reduces to. What? Pipes and whistles in his voice. His voice has become very weak. Okay, and now the air comes out of the spaces which is there between the teeth. Then the last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Now the last scene is the scene where this all eventful history of a person's life, it comes to an end. Now, why the life of a person has been referred to as an eventful history? Because in all these phases of life, the person goes through so much, has undergone through a lot. Okay, has been through a lot, and now uh, he has faced so many events, like so much of the things has happened in his life, and he has dealt with different kinds of situations. So that has been quite eventful, because because the person, like when you sit with the old people, they have lots and lots of stories to share you with. Why do they have so many stories? Why do they share? And they share their own stories. Why? Because they are telling it out of their own experiences. Because for each for like most of the when you talk of anything, then these old grandparents, they have some or the other stories related to that. Okay, so that is what has been said. That is why the life of a person has been referred to as eventful. And history, why? Because everything is in past now, so history is something which is in past. Um, so in this seventh last stage, everything ends. The eventful history of a person ends, and it is the second childishness and mere oblivion. Like when a person becomes very old, he develops this tendency to forget things. Okay, the old people, they tend to forget things. Like if you tell them now, they'll forget after 2 hours, or say 3 hours. They'll ask again. So this is what mere oblivion is. Oblivion means forgetfulness. So they tend to forget the things, they tend to forget what you have told them. And it is the second childishness. That means again the person becomes a dependent human being. And then what happens after this? The person uh, exits from this stage, which is the world, and he dies. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. That means he becomes without teeth. He becomes toothless. He his eyesight becomes so weak, next to negligible. Okay, and then without taste, the old people, they don't have, they lose their ability to differentiate between the taste, so they lose this like the sense of taste, and then sans everything, and then they lose every other thing, and they just exit, they take their exit, and they die, the person dies. Okay, so these all are the seven stages of a human life, which has been very well portrayed by William Shakespeare, that each one of us can compare, can relate to what he has said in this poem. And now the few things I would like you to underline. The first line, all the world's a stage. It is a metaphor. Okay, it is a metaphor. Metaphor is a literary device where two uncomparable things are compared. Like this world and a stage, these two things are they are uncomparable, but then they are compared. So this is what a metaphor is. So all the words a stage is a metaphor. And in the next line, merely means only, so you can write down only. And then when you come to this creeping like a snail, creeping like a snail is the simile. Okay, so when the whining schoolboy, he creeps like a snail. So you can write down, underline that creeping like a snail, and write down simile. And again, after leaving a line, there is again a simile, sighing like a furnace. Furnace is a kind of oven, okay, which is very hot. So sighing like a furnace. And then the second last line, bearded like the part. Bearded like a part here, means part is the leopard, so it can have two different meanings. Like he has the beard. If we go in the literal sense, then at this time he has a beard like that of a leopard, or if we dwell deeper into it, then it can be referred to as that he is as fierce as the leopard during this time, during this period of his age. Okay, and then the bubble reputation, again the metaphor, bubble and reputation have been compared, so that is a metaphor. In the next line is the personification, cannon's mouth. Personification is the literary device which is used when a non-living thing is given the characteristic of a living thing. Like cannon is a non-living thing, so it can obviously not have a mouth. Mouth is something which belongs to a living being. So that is why it is a personification. Cannon has been personified. Then you have alliteration. Alliteration is there in um, the line which is there before the 6th 8th shift, that is plays his part. P and P has been repeated, so plays his part is alliteration. Again, there is alliteration after leaving one, two, three lines. Shrunk, shank, that is also alliteration. And the last line has repetition. Sans has been repeated 4 times. So here we can find repetition. Okay. And when you read this introduction of William Shakespeare, then you'll come across the title which has been given to William Shakespeare. He's often called as England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. Bard means poet, and Avon is the short form of the city of his native city, which was Stratford upon Avon, which is located near Birmingham. So that is why he is known as the Bard of Avon. So you should know this thing. So this poem was very interesting, and it it gained the attention of those who were watching the play or who were reading the novel when as you like it, or drama as you like it. That is why this soliloquy, this is the most quoted. It became the most quoted passage, and now we read it as a separate poem of written by William Shakespeare. So I hope it is clear to everyone. Thank you so much.